Naruto here, and I'm sharing a quick video on 5 levels of move order mechanics. This is going to help you if you want to get better at the game. I am just sharing my experience and some of my key learnings in the last 6 months playing Pokemon Masters. So the topics covered in this video is going to cover triple Q, quad Q, passive flinch, move sleep and flinch, and then lastly Insta Q. So going to give you a replay to watch as well for some of these mechanics, but we're going to start with the basics first. So why learn these mechanics? There are 3 key reasons. The first one is if you want to maximize your damage output each game, this is going to help you significantly. Secondly, by learning these mechanics, you're going to be able to deny certain moves. Perhaps maybe you are wanting to avoid an AoE spam from the enemy, or perhaps a very strong one-hit move that you want to get rid of. By learning these mechanics, it's going to allow you to get rid of them. And then thirdly, for me personally, when I learned some of these mechanics, it made the game a lot more fun. It's more than just potentially getting a new gacha, gambling for rolling for another character, right? I mean, that's definitely an aspect I enjoy myself, but definitely learning the mechanics made the game more fun. So who is this for? This is for someone who's sort of looking at CS or what we call Champion Stadium, and you're sort of in the beginner level, or you're just learning majority of the mechanics and you're still trying to sharpen up your scores for LG, which is Legendary Gauntlets, and then high score events. So why would you listen to me? Well, I'm not your expert players in the Discord, but certainly I wish there was a video like this that was out there to help someone like me when I first started, because it took me a while to learn some of these mechanics. So just to give you my progress so far, now a couple of years ago I used to play Pokemon Go a lot more competitively, PvP wise. That's why I've got this channel. You can look back at some of the videos. And I started playing this Pokemon Master during the Adamant banner. But technically, I started earlier than that because one of my Pokemon Master friends was telling me, hey man, you gotta re-roll a new account because the strongest sync pairs are coming out. Don't even know what he's talking about. So I rolled an account with the 2 Pikachus on it. And basically, I didn't do anything, and I was just bored one day to see, how this game works. And the gacha was very addictive, and I started learning more and more about the game, and finally, I got more interested, and now I'm trying to do my best in some of these events. So in the water event, that was basically when I was learning the game, and I just picked up my master medal. Then in the electric, I tried my best because I had the 2 rats, which a lot of people didn't. So push for the best score possible, landed in 110. And in fire, I made it in the top 100 and for just around, that 70 mark. And then grass, likely to be around 30. So to give you sort of a better understanding of where I'm standing right now, currently 19 with a little bit of less than a week left. But I think I'll probably drop about 10 ranking. So LG wise, where I'm getting stuck there is more about lucky skills, and also the lucky skills and the sync grids. So I've been trying to increase my LG score by about 25 per I guess event. So next one I'm hoping I can hit 100. So to show you some of these mechanics that's helped me make the progress a bit faster, I really wish, again, if there was a video like this that's going to explain some of these mechanics, it's going to help you learn the game, you can have more fun with it. So basic terms we're going to use, number 1, hero. This is us. Turn is when you can line up your moves. So in your turn, you can line up 3 moves, enemy can line up 1 move. And a move is just when you click a move button. Okay, so the first lesson is, or the first, I guess, really key understanding is, in a week or 2, you have to figure out, okay, actually, you need to learn triple Q. So when you start the fight, you can queue up 3 moves before enemy queues their 1 move. This is going to allow you to speed up the sync counter, which is your ultimate move, and that's going to do the most damage. By queuing the 3 moves, it allows you to get to your sync in 3 turns. If you miss one of the moves, the likelihood of getting a sync is going to take an extra turn, which means your damage output is going to be slower. So if you guys remember, if you have a support X, you get 100% extra damage. If you just sync with your striker, you get 50% extra damage. So by syncing the earlier as quickly as possible, that's going to allow you to increase your damage. So that's really basic, really important lesson, but some of the new players might miss this, especially when we watch some of the replays in the Discord on Champion Stadium. Okay, so the next one is quad Q. So I want to show you how this looks like if you added quad Q, and how it works is it happens after the sync. Okay, so after the sync, it's easy for you to line up 2 moves. Now, if you're unaware, you might miss queuing the 3rd move. So you can see hero, sync, move 1 and move 2. So we got the other 2 sync pairs to line up the moves. And an enemy is going to actually queue up a move, right? So that means by the time we can sync again, the enemy has already gone for 7 moves. So what does quad Q look like? Okay, now we scroll down. If this done right, you can actually sync, move 1, move 2, and then straight after the sync of that sync pair, you can actually queue up move 3. And that will allow you to sync after the enemy's move 6 opposed to move 7. That means you have 1 extra turn almost, right? To queue your sync. So I'm going to show you this YouTube video. This is really important when it comes to Champion Stadium. And I'm going to show you this video where you can see we've got Hubert basically syncing, and we've got 2 moves just aligned afterwards. Okay, Screech and Brutal Swing. And then now, basically, you can see that now we can queue a X speed all. Essentially, we have queued 3 moves after the sync, and that means in 2 more turns we can sync again. So if we just fast forward this a little bit, okay, now we're down to 3 moves, right? The sync counter is up, and enemies only got 1 move before they sync. So that means in Champion Stadium, you can adjust your parameters for more damage, because you can finish them before they can do their 2nd sync. So this is really important. Quad Q is the essential mechanic you need to utilize well in both Champion Stadium and also high score event. Also LG as well, right? If you're doing a lot of a higher streak, the quad Q is going to be really important. So back to our document here. Okay, so now we've explored quad Q, done right. You can get your sync a little bit earlier. The other notes on quad Q is that you can actually max move quad. So that means how that works is, like, say for example, you've got SST Red, which is the Pikachu. If you do a max move as your first move in a turn, you can actually line up 3 moves straight after the max move. So essentially SST would do the max move, and then you line up the other 2 moves, and straight after the max you do your quad. Okay, the timing of it, maybe I just quickly touch on that really quickly as well. The timing on the quad is just when the animation fades. So this is something took me a while to figure out, because no one actually explained this to me. So again, if you watch this, you're going to see this fire and it's going to fade. As soon as it starts fading, almost finish, that's when you want to click your quad Q. If you do it slightly early, sometimes it doesn't queue. Obviously if you do it too late, then the enemy is going to queue their move. Okay, so that's the timing that's really important. Now if we go back here, we've got the other things that might stop quad Q. Your passives. So passives that trigger like a stat. Say for example, Sonya and Yampa. If you get hit, right, just before I guess your sync, Sonya is going to trigger speed, right? Speed for your whole team, and that's going to stop your quad Q, because that's going to force your enemy to queue a move straight after you get hit. Shields, if it's coming off at the same time, or weather change just before your sync move as well. Those things are going to stop your quad Q, so you have to pay attention if you are unable to do your quad Q. Is probably some passives that's stopping you. The alternative to quad Q is if you don't want to think about it, like for me, I'm just like, okay, I just want to be lazy and clear Champion Stadium as quickly as possible. Then I might take up Adrenaline for my support as a lucky skill, or a tile in their grid. So those are alternatives to having the quad Q, because this will allow you to have one less count, I guess one sync countdown move. Okay. So now moving on to passive flinch. This is, I guess, it's not too obvious, but at the same time obvious. You know, if you got a SS Lyra or NC Blue, for a newer player, they might start the turn with the flinch, okay? What I mean by that is you flinch first, you are actually leaving a lot of real estate, okay? And I'm gonna show you what I mean, because if you do it right, you can basically make enemy miss a move, and you can queue 6 moves in one turn, okay? Queuing 6 moves in one turn with these passive flinch. It's very different because SS Lyra has the flinch from their passive skill, opposed to the flinch in their actual move, like some of the flinch. This is the easier one to understand, so we're going to watch this YouTube video to understand what it is. I want to give a shout out to Pikau as well. When I first started the water event, I was looking at the pin ranking, and I was just looking for a player that had a budget roster with the highest points. So this guy had it, and I started spamming messages to him. I'll be like, hey man, can you teach me, like, how do you do this? How do you do that? He gave me so much tips, and it really helped me to enjoy the game a lot more. So what we're gonna look at here is the passive flinch on SS Lyra. Okay, so I'm gonna press play here and see how we're gonna queue the moves. You basically wanna queue the flinch last. Okay, we don't queue it on the first move here, or first turn. We're gonna queue the flinch in the second turn. As you can see, we line up the Grassy Glide as a third move. Now we're gonna line up 2 new moves after Cross Poison. Okay, so now the flinch comes in, we're gonna spam the green terrain. Now you can see enemy have missed their turn on the Cross Poison, and then straight away went for X Defense all instead. So now effectively you have queued 6 moves in between the 2 turns the enemy had. Okay, so this is how passive flinch work. Always line it up as the last move on the third move slot, and then straight after it triggers, just spam whatever move you can, and that's going to allow you to get 6 moves in, and that's going to give you a lot more syncs, right? Okay, so moving on. This you can actually do on your NC Blue as well. That's going to allow you to speed up your sync. Okay, now this one, move, sleep, and flinch. Okay, this one is a bit harder than the passive. The passive is kind of a no-brainer because you have this window to spam an extra move. Now, if you do a flinch and sleep, you can't spam the extra move like you could with SS Lyra. There is not enough timing. So you can only have 2 moves in between, opposed to 3 moves. So I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by looking at this Ramos video. This is one of the clears in Grass High Score right now. And let's have a look at it. So we're going to queue sleep like we queue the flinch. Okay, as you can see, there's a mud shot lined up, and sleep forces it to become an X speed all. Okay, so that means effectively we have done 5 moves and the enemy has only done 1. Okay, but that means we still need the extra turn to get the sync in. So we're not faster. All we're getting to do right now is squeeze in 2 extra moves, but we're not getting to the sync faster. But let's watch how it goes in the next turn. Okay, so now Pikau lines up the Dire Hit Ball, Bullet Seed, and then Sleep Powder on the third target, which is the Energy Ball. So as you can see, we got those 2 extra moves in, and now Sleep forces the tree or Executor to go to sleep, and they can't use Energy Ball. We get to squeeze in an extra 2 moves, as you can see here. And so that allows us effectively, we have squeezed in 4 extra moves, and that allows us to sync straight away. An enemy has only done 2, opposed to 3. This is how you can get an extra turn in by sleeping. Again, let's watch this again, okay? So if we look at the first move set, queuing the sleep on the third move in the 1 turn, we get the 2 extra move in. Now enemy queues their passive, the X speed all, and we get the sleep powder on the executor, and now we get the extra 2 moves in, which allows us to sync while enemy has only done 2 moves, which is basically 1 turn ahead. So going on to the next one, and we're going to watch the flinch as well, because this was a very important fight for Lodge Blue, okay? So if we go back slightly, just the start of the fight, okay? Alright, so we got some ads here. Let's have a look. So now you can see we just flinched the move, and then we've got the 2 moves lined up afterwards. Same thing happens. You know, we line up 2 moves and then the flinch as a 3rd one, but we don't need to actually flinch anything here because Ludicolo just went for a trainer move. But because Adamant has acceleration, right, as his trainer move, we basically got to sync with just 2 enemy moves. So if we go back again, just watch from the beginning. Alright. So trainer move and then stomp as a 3rd move. And then now we queue up 2 new moves. The flinch comes in, bullet seed becomes X speed all, we got 2 extra moves in. Again, we queue it exactly the same. And because of head start from the trainer move, that allowed Pikal to get the sync in after enemy's 2nd move, which is basically, again, 1 turn ahead when you combine the 2. Now going back to the last one is Insta Q. So this one is a bit harder, okay? But the long story short for this particular mechanic is you basically sleep before a sync and you get to quad. So essentially you are getting a total of 7 moves in between the enemy's 2 turns. I'm going to show you what this means. This works on the Ramos fight. So I've got a replay here for fail run, but at least it gives you an understanding of what this looks like, okay? So now we are X defense all, okay? And we line up our Leaf Storm, we line up the Razor Leaf, and then we line up the Sleep. So now we're gonna get the sync in. Okay, line up our Razor Leaf. You can see Mudshot disappears. So now we get the quad Q in as well. So that means effectively, if you watch again from 50, we've got 1 Leaf Storm, 2 Razor Leaf, 3 Sleep Powder, and then that Mudshot is the enemy's move. We line up our sync, we get Razor Leaf, and that Mudshot disappears, and now we've got a quad Q in. So effectively we've got 6 moves plus the sync in. And my understanding of it is that I don't know how to get it consistently. I've asked people, they said it's the timing, but I just can't figure out the timing. You can get it sometimes, but not all the time. But again, learning all of these will allow you to get your sync significantly faster. In some runs like Celan, right, in the grass high score event, you need to be able to do 5 syncs, right? To actually win that fight. So by doing all of these things well and doing your queuing right, you can get your syncs faster, and that's going to allow you to have a much better outcome, much better result. And that's why I appreciate high school, because one, it really allows you to maximize your units, really utilize the units, and because you're pushing every strength you can, you really had to get the team right, and then the mechanics right. And that's what I find fun in this mode. Hopefully that helps, and yeah, have fun with it yourself. Talk soon.